I'm married to a woman old enough to be my grandmother. Today, her children hate me for it and say I'm only with her for her money. But the truth is, I love her. Well, it all started in March 2021. I was 26 years old and had just separated from a 7-year marriage. I came out of that marriage with 2 children to raise and no job. My kids were 2 and 4 years old. After we separated, my ex-husband simply stopped helping with anything. He had already left the house he rented for me to live in. When I separated, the landlady where I lived felt sorry for me and gave me 3 months to live there without paying rent. But I knew it wasn't just the rent, right? There was water, electricity, and food for my kids. That's when I started taking on cleaning jobs. It was during these cleaning jobs that I was recommended to clean the house of a 62-year-old woman who lived alone after her husband passed away. Everyone said that besides cleaning, she also needed someone to keep her company because she missed having someone to talk to. She had 3 children, but all of them lived far away, one in another state and the others abroad. So I accepted the job and started working at her house. At first, I went 3 times a week, and she always treated me with a lot of kindness. And so, time passed. The period of not paying rent ended, and I started paying rent. But when I began paying rent, it was expensive for me, who depended only on cleaning jobs. So, I paid the rent and had to manage with the money left for other expenses. That's when I decided to look for a smaller and cheaper house to stop struggling so much. One day, while talking with my 62-year-old employer, I mentioned that if she knew of any cheap houses for rent, to let me know, because I needed to move out. I told her this because she knew a lot of people. Despite being 62, she looked at most 50. She was very beautiful and well kept, and she talked to everyone, knew all the shopkeepers. When I mentioned I needed to rent another house, she looked at me and asked if I would consider living in her house. Immediately, I said I didn't think it was right and that I also had 2 kids, so I didn't want to disrupt her routine. She laughed and said it would never be a disruption. At least she wouldn't feel so lonely, and she missed having children playing around the house. I'm telling you, there was no lack of space. Her house had 4 bedrooms, hers and her children's, who no longer lived there. After much insistence from her and not finding anything within my budget, I accepted. Honestly, it was the best decision I made. My kids loved the house and her as well, and we became friends, besides me being her employee. We would stay up late talking, though I had never looked at her any differently because I had only been involved with men. After about 5 months of living with her, her children had already taken a liking to me too, as I had spoken with them several times via video call. They always thanked me for keeping their mother company. My ex-mother-in-law started calling me because she wanted to sometimes have the kids, saying she missed them. When she asked this, I agreed. After all, I was still young and could use that time to go out. During these outings, I met a guy and started seeing him. When I realized I was getting involved with him, I told the lady I lived with during one of our conversations. That's when she told me she needed to tell me something. I froze, thinking she was going to kick me out of her house. But no, she told me she was in love with me, that she had been involved with another woman before, but no one knew about it. Since she stopped seeing that woman, she hadn't liked anyone until she met me. I was honestly in shock. And then she asked if I would give her a chance and make her the happiest woman in the world, that she would give me the world if needed. At that moment, I won't lie, I accepted purely out of interest, even though I had never been with a woman. She had money, and I thought of myself and my kids living a good life. Initially, I even felt disgusted kissing her, but always away from my kids until we had our first night together. And I felt something so different. It was very good. After about 4 months of our relationship, I stopped seeing the guy and realized I was actually falling for her. Besides everything she did for me, she was romantic and spoiled me a lot, doing things my ex husband never did. We went out for dinner, to the movies, and she even hired another cleaner so I wouldn't have to work anymore. I was sure I truly liked her. One day, we ran into the woman she had previously been involved with. They greeted each other respectfully, and when she left, my partner told me who she was. I felt a pang of jealousy. Almost a year together, she decided to tell her kids about our relationship. From then on, it was all downhill with them. They, who used to love and thank me for keeping their mother company, now hated me, accusing me of taking advantage of her. During a visit from her son who lived in another state, he treated me so badly that I was constantly arguing with him over how he treated me. It sincerely hurts me because to this day, I receive messages from her children calling me names, accusing me of being an opportunist. I avoid showing her these messages because I don't want to turn her against her own children. But it hurts a lot because I know at the beginning my intention was indeed to take advantage. But now I love this woman, and the only thing I want is to be with her for the rest of my life. And that's my story. Well, this story isn't mine. I received it from a follower